I would like to call the meeting to order, and the first thing that we would like to do this evening is we have 6 students from Sadler Elementary here that are going to do our pledge, and I would like to invite these 6 students up front, and please introduce yourself to the board, and then you'll lead us in the pledge. So come on up. That's fine. Thank you very much for coming.
What's your name? Thanks for coming now.
Your name? Hey, Jerry. Thank you. Hey, David. Thank you.
Hey, Dave. How's it going, man?
Your name? Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Your name? Aaliyah, thank you very much for coming.
You're a 5th grader?
Thank you very much for coming, okay?
Your name, man? Pledge.
Oh, God. Again, from the board, we do thank you, you students, for coming and doing the pledge for us tonight. It was a great honor to have you here. It's a pleasure to be here at Sadler Elementary this evening for the Board of Education work session. Sadler is a very wonderful school. It opened in 2004 and has approximately 500 students. It's a very much community-based school. It's in an area out here. I'm kind of partial to this area because I live a couple miles from here, but you know, it's a wonderful area, and we would like to thank Dr. James Vermeer for his staff allowing us to come, and for everything that y'all have done to get everything set up. And we really did it because we're thinking about changing our communications department to mobile communications department. We wanted to see how good they were to get everything together. But they've done a wonderful job, and we do appreciate anything or everything that you have done. Is there anything that you would like to say, or would you like to make a comment, Dr. Vermeer?
Chairman, Mr. Booker, Board, audience, I'd like to, first of all, thank you for coming here tonight, but also thank you for the investment you've made in our students in regards to technology. We got the great news the other day of the $1.1 million we received from the county commissioners. Just wanted to give you an idea how we're going to use it here. We're going to purchase, or we're going to be given 2 Chromebook carts consisting of 30 Chromebooks per cart. Each morning at 7 o'clock, our buses start rolling in at the break of 7 o'clock in the morning. Our kids come off the bus. If they're not eating, we're starting their school day at 7 a.m. How we're doing that is with technology. We have a program called Compass Remediation Program, where the students will go to 3 different places. They'll go into the Media Center and get on Chromebooks or our 2 labs. We have a large lab and we have a mini lab. And the students will get on their devices and learn how to better themselves in reading. Presently, we have 63 students participating. And again, we start this at 7 o'clock in the morning. And because of your hard work and the generosity that you've given us with technology, we will be able to double the amount of students participating in our technology remediation every morning. And again, these students start at 7 in the morning, and by 7:45 when we ring our bell, they're extremely focused on what they do. And again, I can't thank you enough for this and your efforts. And again, on behalf of my staff here at Sadler, thank you.
Thank you very much. Also, I wanted to mention one of the reasons that we, besides wanting to get out and make our communications department mobile and things of that, the voting will be occurring at our central office, and our boardroom is a place where voting occurs. And the Department of Elections wanted to say thank you to everyone also, because it allows them to set up tonight instead of waiting till after we get out of there tonight and then trying to do that in the morning or late tonight or get ready for in the morning. So they say thank you to Dr. Premier. We really appreciate you again. I want to tell you from the entire board, everything looks so nice out here. The grounds looks nice. They're a little wet today, but they look nice. But it's a beautiful place out here. It's a beautiful campus, and y'all do a great job keeping it looking nice every day. Thank you again. All right, I would like to also, the next item, we need to adopt our agenda. I'm assuming everyone's had a chance to take a look at that, and I'll need that in a form of a motion. Mr. Ramsey.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the agenda.
Mr. Collier has seconded that. Any discussion? All in favor? And that is unanimous. Thank you very much. The first thing we're going to do tonight, we're doing a couple of the, we've done it for the last couple meetings, but we're going to have an elementary classroom moment. And I think this gives us a great view of what we're doing in our classroom, and I think it goes back to say that technology is a growing field and it grows every day, and I think that each and every one of our board members has got to see a lot of different things going on in the classroom, and the technology that we're being able to purchase through this last monies that were supplied by the Gaston County Commissioners. I think we're seeing those things, how they're going to be put to work. And I'd like to recognize Ms. Matson.
Good evening, Chairman Lutz, Board of Education members, and Superintendent Booker. 21st century students are driven by a need to be highly engaged or plugged in and to be creative. Technology properly integrated into the content area meets those needs while addressing curriculum goals and achievement. Tonight, we will highlight just one of the strategies that teachers are using to foster higher order thinking skills such as creativity and evaluating, while strengthening students' reading, writing, science, and math skills. Tonight we will highlight a 5th grade class from Sadler Elementary School. I would like to thank Principal Ramir for being here to support his teacher and students. And at this time, I would like to ask the parents of our students to stand to be recognized. Thank you for coming out on this rainy evening to join us. We're very proud of your children. I have with me tonight Theresa Thomason. Theresa is in her 25th year of education. She was a classroom teacher for 15 years, and she's taught kindergarten, first, second, fourth, and fifth grades, and she served as an instructional technology facilitator since 2006. Theresa is a national board certified teacher. She holds a master's degree in elementary education, a master's degree in instructional technology, is certified AIG, and she believes children will thrive and achieve when allowed time to explore and learn about things that spark their interest. Theresa services 6 elementary schools in her position as an ITF. Jessica Ellison is the teacher that will be joining me this evening. She's in the 10th year of teaching. She has taught 3rd, 4th, and 5th grades, has earned her master's in curriculum and instruction, and is a Pinnacle leader. She is constantly looking for ways to improve her instruction and atmosphere in her classroom, so Genius Hour has been an exciting educational experience to include in her classroom. She loves being in the classroom and helping her students grow and learns from them every day. I'd like to introduce our students. Could they all stand up for me, please? Tavion likes the color red. His favorite subject in school is reading because when he reads, it gives him joy. He is a member of the after-school book club because he thinks it's a good opportunity for kids to grow in reading. He also loves Genius Hour because he can be creative. Christy loves the color sky blue. Her favorite subject is reading because it is a good time to relax and read your favorite book. She is in robotics, Battle of the Books, in Straight Outta Books, After School Club, and AIG. She especially likes Genius Hour because she is making a volcano and a website. Chandriana likes the color pink. She is in a book club with her teacher and some of her friends. She loves to do math and reading. She also loves Genius Hour because we get to do whatever we want and tell other people about it. Her favorite book is Percy Jackson, The Lightning Thief. Jerry is a member of the robotics team and the after-school book club. His favorite color is light blue. His favorite subject is reading, and his favorite book is House of Hades by Percy Jackson series. Aaliyah loves the color blue. She is a member of the robotics team, AIG, and Battle of the Books. She is 10 years old. She enjoys all subjects in school, but she really enjoys writing, reading, and she especially loves Genius Hour. For her Genius Hour project, she is creating a fashion blog. David enjoys math and is really good at multiplication. He loves Genius Hour and helping others. So I've said Genius Hour several times. I would like to welcome Theresa Thomason to tell you exactly what Genius Hour is.
Good evening. It is my privilege to be here with you tonight and to take a look inside of what's happening in some of the classrooms here at Sadler. And yes, Ms. Matson has talked repeatedly about Genius Hour, so let's figure out what that is. Think back to when you were younger. When we were students, we were fascinated by lots of different things. And we asked question after question after question. And we did lots of research to try to figure out the answers to our questions and ask every adult that we could find. As adults, we kind of do the same thing. So what if in the classroom you're asked if you could learn about whatever you wanted to? What would that passion be? For some of us as adults, it's golf, it's gardening, it's reading, it's learning about places far away. And we get engrossed in those and we kind of lose sense of time. We follow our passion. So what if students had that opportunity to follow their passion in their classroom as well? I know you've heard of Google. Google kind of started this with their 80-20 time. This allowed their employees to spend 20% of their day working on something that interested them. So, Some things that came about from that time: Gmail, Google Sites, and Google Earth. I know you've heard of those. So the definition of genius is to bring into being, to create, or produce. So that brings us to Genius Hour in the classroom. Genius Hour gives students 1 hour per week to work on any learning goal that they have. The outcome is dependent upon what the teacher wants them to do. Students learn how to become autonomous learners and are motivated because they're working on learning on things that they want to learn about. During Genius Hour, students are practicing skills, they're imagining, they're learning knowledge about something that they're interested about, they're innovating, and they're creating. Students usually start with a question, and we tell them that the question can't be a Googleable question, because if you can Google it, that's pretty easy to learn about. So they research a topic, and they share that topic in some form. Their presentations range from musical performances to stop animation and almost anything in between. Tonight, Jessica Ellison, a 5th grade teacher here at Sadler, and a few of her wonderful students are going to show you what it looks like in their classroom.
Good evening, and thank you for allowing us to share something with you that has become such a favorite part of our classroom. When I first introduced the idea of Genius Hour, or passion projects as I like to call them as well, to my class, they did not believe me that they were going to have a chance to choose something they were interested in. They were like looking at me, what? But that I told them that they would be choosing something that they could share with the world. We watched a video to introduce the concept of Genius Hour and brainstorm some ideas to get started. There's our little brainstorming. It's working very slowly. But we brainstormed, and I also sent a letter home to the parents so they could understand why their child might be coming home saying, oh, I'm making a website, or oh, I'm making a stop motion video, so their parents can know, why we're doing this along with the standards that it meets for our technology. It's okay, we'll go ahead and skip it. Okay, let's go. Genius Hour continues to be a learning experience for both my students and I. We're learning every day. They're teaching me as much as I'm hopefully teaching them. We have struggled a little with slowing down and taking the time to plan. We have to realize that our great, fabulous ideas aren't going to just come overnight. We have to plan. And they took their ideas that they created and started a planning sheet so they could start making their ideas come to life. Some ideas haven't worked out as well as we'd hoped. We'd had to rethink some ideas, change some ideas, but it's pretty awesome to see them persevere and show their creativity and collaboration with each other. On Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, after their morning activity, students had the opportunity to spend time creating their projects. I'm there to help, but ultimately, I'm encouraging them to think on their own of all the endless possibilities for themselves. And now I'd love for them to take some time to share with you some of the awesome things that they're doing every day in our classroom.
Oh, they can come around. So.
Yeah.
Now, come on down here. He shared it.
Come on.
Me and Kim.
You can go right next to Jerry. Thank you. Good job. Good job. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much. That's great to see stuff like that go on. Thank you. Our next item on the agenda is an elementary classroom moment again, and I'm going to ask Dr. Bill Cook to come forward.
Good evening, Chairman Lutz, Board of Ed members, Superintendent Booker. Tonight we are showcasing a 10-minute math activity from our 4th grade classroom at New Hope Elementary School. Classroom routines K3 and 10-minute math 3-5 support and balance the in-depth work of each mathematics curriculum unit utilized in every Gaston County elementary school. They incorporate review and practice with brief activities that provide repeated experience with an idea, concept, or skill in order to become fluent. Children are provided with repeated opportunities to become fluent with a skill while also deepening their understanding of the operations. I'm excited to introduce to you Ms. Lisa Hayes, one of our elementary mathematics curriculum facilitators. Ms. Hayes has been with Gaston County Schools for 12 years. She started her career with Gaston County as an elementary teacher, then moved into school administration, in which she served for 2 years as an assistant principal, and Ms. Hayes currently serves as an elementary mathematics curriculum facilitator for Gaston County Schools, and we're looking forward to her multiplying in the spring. We also have Ms. Shannon Kaler. Ms. Kaler has been with Gaston County Schools for 4 years. She started her career in Kentucky as an elementary teacher, teaching 2nd, 3rd, and 5th grades. In 2014, she obtained her National Board Certification in Early and Middle Childhood Literacy and is currently teaching 4th grade at New Hope. Our student presenters for this evening are Amelia Reyes. Amelia Reyes is a 4th grade student at New Hope. She is the daughter of Alan Reyes and Karen Lale. Her favorite subject is reading and her hobby is cheerleading. Caleb Campbell is a 4th grade student at New Hope. He is the son of Coley and Jamie Campbell. His favorite subject is reading and his hobby is soccer, as you can tell by his attire tonight. Trey Holland is a 4th grade student at New Hope. Trey is the son of Christy France. His favorite subject is reading and his hobby is football. And then we have Bryson Lomick. Bryson is a 4th grade student at New Hope, and he's the son of DeFay Lomick and Laverne Connor. His favorite subject is math, and his hobby is football. I'd also like to ask the parents to stand and be recognized of these young people tonight. Parents, would you please stand? Thank you. So we thank Dr. Lee Smith for her support of her students and her staff, and on behalf of the Curriculum and Instruction Division, we turn it over to Ms. Lisa Hayes.
Good evening. We are excited to share with you a glimpse into a special part of an elementary mathematics classroom. As you observe the activity that Ms. Kaler has chosen to share with you this evening, you will notice how 10-minute math is designed to reinforce the work students have done in previous units and help students increase their repertoire of strategies for mental calculation and problem solving. Ms. Kaler will now share her expertise with 10-minute math and model a lesson with her students.
10-minute math has proved to be one of the most impactful times of the day in my classroom. Every day during this time, especially for quick images, students erupt with excitement. 10-minute math challenges my students with an opportunity to explore mathematics independently in a quick way and a freedom to think and solve in a way that is useful and meaningful to them. My students are excited because they know each 10-minute math activity results in an opportunity for them to volunteer and explain their mathematical reasoning to the class while defending themselves with viable arguments. I am amazed at the way that 10-minute math naturally develops mathematical growth and understanding for my students. They begin to use advanced mathematical vocabulary and make connections between visual representations, complex equations, and algebraic foundations. Most days during these 10 minutes, my students feel successful and proud because they know I am amazed at the discoveries they are able to make every single day. 10-minute math is something we refer back to consistently during our math time each day. The activities lend themselves perfectly to the work of the grade and allow students to make connections as they progress through the standards. At this time, I would like to invite you to join my students for one of our favorite activities, Quick Images. Quick Images is a 10-minute math activity in which students get 3 opportunities to briefly view an arrangement of dots. Their task is to find out how many dots there are and how they know. In 4th grade, the images focus on groups of groups and on connecting multiplication and division notation to the different ways students see the image. The math discussions that result from such an image provides far more practice than simply answering a simple multiplication equation. It includes repeated exposure to important topics about the operation of multiplication in addition to fact practice. So at this time, I'm going to invite my students up. And board members, if you would like to participate, you will need a piece of paper and a writing utensil, and feel free to do this along with us.
So what's going to happen is I will put this image and an image of dots will appear. You only get 3 seconds to look at the image, and the students will jot down the image as quickly as they can, trying to identify how many dots are in the picture. The image will go away, then you'll see it for 3 more seconds. It'll go away, and then it'll stay for good. Okay? And they're going to be creating equations to go along with the image that they see. All right? You guys ready? All right. 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're going to show it again. And one last time. And then this time, students will take a minute to kind of adjust their drawings and create some equations to go along with what they're creating. All right, let's have some students share their findings. Does anyone want to share what they found? How did you see this image and what kind of equations did you come up with? Okay, Amelia, go ahead. And Amelia, if you'll kind of turn and face them so they can hear you nice and loud and project explain what they're doing.
I saw 3 times 5, 3 times, and then I said they were all 15. And then I add them all together, then I got 15. No, 45.
Okay, Amelia, show me where you saw 3 times 5. Come on up here. You said you saw 3 times 5.
I saw 3 like this,
Okay?
and then I saw,
3 times 5.
and then right here. That's where I saw all 3.
Okay? So did you get your 3 times 5 here?
Yeah.
Okay? So you saw 3 times 5, and tell me what you wrote down as your equation. What did you write down as your equation?
I did 3 times 5
Okay?
plus 3 times 5,
Okay?
then 3 times 5.
Okay? And you knew 3 times 5 is what?
15.
Okay? 3 times 5 again?
15.
And again?
15.
And then what did you do after that?
I added them together, then I got 45.
45. Did you do 15 plus 15 plus 15 was 45? Excellent job. Great job. Let's see. Trey, go ahead. How did you see this image?
I saw the bottom 2 and the middle as a triangle.
Okay, come up here and show me what you mean by the bottom 2 in the middle of the triangle. Okay, so you saw one big triangle. What kind of equation did you come up with for that? 3 times 3. Why?
Because there are 3 triangles and 3 groups of 3 triangles.
3 groups of 3 triangles. Excellent. And you knew 3 times 3 is what? Excellent.
And then I saw these in the bottom themselves.
Okay.
And then I thought it said 3 groups of 2, 2 groups of 3.
2 groups of 3. Okay. You can record it on here.
2 times 3. 8, 6.
6. Okay. And then what did you do?
Then I did 9 plus 6.
9 plus 6 is
15.
15.
You knew how many dots were here? 15. And total, how many were there? Okay. 15 again, 15 again, and you got 45. Excellent job. And notice each time, really, they amaze me because they all see it differently than the way that I saw it. Caleb, go ahead, why don't you share?
I saw it as all these are just one dot, and I saw it as 5 on the dice. And so that's 5. And then 10, 15.
Okay.
And then I see that there's 3 dots in each triangle. So I would triple 5 times 3, which equals 15.
Okay.
And then so 15 times 3 would equal 45. And I know that because 10 times 3 equals 30. And 5 times 3 equals 15. And 15 plus 30 equals 45.
Excellent job. Last one, right? So did you have a different way you saw this image? Okay, tell us how you saw it.
I saw this 3 times 6 at 12.
Okay, so this row, you saw how many groups?
6 groups of
6 groups of 3, which is 18.
And I saw at the bottom was 6 groups of 3.
Okay, excellent. Which is 18.
And I had 18 was 18.
Okay, and what did you get? Very good.
Then I saw it was 3 more groups of 3 left.
Okay, 3 more groups of 3 left.
So I would put it times 3. That's 9.
And that's 9.
And 36 plus 9 equals
36 plus 9 equals 45. Very good job. Thank you. And lastly, I want to see if there's anyone who can make a division equation with this image. A division equation. Amelia, you think you can give it a shot? Sure. Excellent. 45.
divided by 15
Okay.
equals 30.
Okay, very good job. And do you know where did you get your 15 in this image, Amelia?
I got my 15 from there and the whole page
Okay.
and all of them.
So each different group. Okay. And then your 3 is?
3 is right here in the triangle.
Very good job. Excellent. Another division equation that could be formed from this image. Caleb, come on up.
I saw it as 45 divided by 3 equals 15.
Okay, and where do you see it divided into 3s?
I see 3 as 3 pieces.
Yep, 3 pieces or 3 groups right here. And each group has how many in it, Caleb? 15. Has 15. Very good job. And each day, students really spend a lot of time, just like this, sharing their ideas out with the class and defending their arguments. Sometimes, even when they're wrong and they have to correct themselves and make mistakes to prove why their thinking was correct or incorrect. So at this time, if you guys would like to come this way, we're going to share our math notebooks with the board.
Wow. You guys did a great job of speaking where we could hear you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing. You facilitate learning, don't you? And they just, yes, well, I them. Great, great, great. Thank you so very much for sharing. Oh, my. Look, and look there. Wow. Thank you so much. Did you like that? Well, that's a record show. I just watched. Yes. This is the only way that you can do it. Now, back 10-minute math. Is that a program?
We would like to thank you again. We appreciate that lesson that we just all got, because I think we all just got a lesson. The next item on the agenda, we think will be a technology update with Ms. Matson. And Ms. Matson, if you don't mind, can I say this? We all just got a couple good updates. I think everyone on the board got to see a lot of good information here, but
Good evening, Chairman Lutz, Board of Education members, and Superintendent Booker. I wanted to give you a very brief update on technology. It's that time of year again, E-rate time. What E-rate is a short name for Schools and Libraries Program of Universal Services Funds. How many times have you looked at your cell phone and wondered what the Universal Services charge was? What that does is go back to the schools and libraries for connectivity. This is a very rigorous process that helps us have better funding for telecommunications and internal connections, and it makes it more affordable for our schools and our libraries. They're discounted services, and it's based on free and reduced lunch numbers. There's two categories of these services. Category 1 is for connectivity. So the first is the telecommunications. That's basically our WAN, and that's connecting all of our schools together. The second is the basic internet connection. So the district has one internet connection for the whole entire district. We get this from a statewide education network called MCNC, so we don't have to file for E-rate on this. Category 2 is internal connections. What internal connections are is what makes our network work. So it's our switches, our access points, our wireless controllers, and our battery backups. We just began our E-rate period now. We put up an RFP on Friday for many of the internal connections. We have a very rigorous process that we have to follow. The bids have to be up for 28 days. There's a variety of different forms we have to fill out. But the most important part of E-rate is I go in silent mode. I don't speak to any vendors that could possibly sell any products, so there'll be no problem at all with any of our bids or any questions about anything we do. So if you hear from somebody and they say, the district's not talking to me, that's right. We want to be above reproach, and so we're not talking to vendors at this time. I wanted to give you an update on our Chromebooks. I know you've heard a lot about our Chromebooks, but we are so very excited about the Chromebooks. And the order has been placed for the Chromebooks. Every school will get 2 carts. They're going to be delivered later this month, and we will begin deployment in December. When our students return from winter break, they will have their brand new carts of Chromebooks, and that's thanks to you and your support. What this is doing for us is our mobile device ratio will all be less than 2 to 1. So I think our highest ratio will be about 1.9 to 1, so that's students to the mobile device. That's not even instructional or any other devices, just our mobile devices. I hope you saw a good use of our devices tonight and some of our other classroom moments. This is some of our students, and we will continue working with our students, and they'll work independently, collaboratively, and in different places within the school as we bring technology to them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone on the board have any questions for Ms. Matson? Thank you very much. We appreciate the information.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is Dr. Abernathy, and she will be going over the evaluation, the executive evaluation process.
Good evening, Chairman Lutz, Vice Chair Ramsey, members of the board, and Superintendent Booker. November is a great time to provide all of you with an update on what we are doing in terms of facilitating growth and supporting our principals in addition to their evaluation process. As you know, there are things that we do at the beginning and ongoing throughout the year and at the end of the year to facilitate this whole process of growth and support for our principals. I want to first highlight what we do for our new principals in the Gaston County Schools, and our support of them begins with an orientation process. You see here, as part of this process, we try to introduce them to the school system, to their own schools, to their role as a principal, and just help them get prepared for that important first week. Here you see just a few examples of what our agenda looks like as part of this orientation process. It includes a wide variety of topics and presenters, including here you see on our third day a great presentation by Dr. Mingo and Dr. Maddox on the evaluation process that I'll be referring to in just a few minutes. You see our orientation of our new principals includes different modules, including their visit with you, the Board of Education, other modules including their role as a principal, communication tips, tips as their role as instructional leader, different topics such as Fund Management 101, operational basics, and other items that you see here. We also had a completion checklist that we kept up with during this process because different things happened over the summer. We wanted to be sure that no one was left out of any module. So for each of our new principals, we kept up with the modules that they were completing as they were completed. And then you see here component 6, sustaining a successful leadership style. And as part of that, for our new principals, we have monthly leadership reflections. And these include a standard focus for each month, reflective questions, required artifacts, and follow-up discussions. For instance, this is what the one for October looked like that our new principals just completed. They received these leadership reflections at the very beginning of the month, and it includes specific requirements or things to focus on during that month, particular artifacts that we asked them to turn back into us. For instance, for October, it was the first one here, professional learning communities. They submitted to us the minutes and the agendas from the PLCs in their school. And then they will receive for each month approximately 20 reflective questions for them to read and reflect upon for their own personal growth. For instance, you see here the third question. How am I actively providing for the mentoring of new staff members? In addition to the formal assignment of a mentor, what is my role in the process? How will I know that what I am doing in terms of mentoring is effective? So each of these questions they will read and reflect and think about as part of their growth. That's our new principals, and as you see here, we also have monthly principals meeting through which they get professional learning and updates. We have specialized cohorts that Dr. Mingo is going to be talking to you about in just a few minutes as part of our Superintendent's Leadership Academy. And then finally, we have our school executive evaluation process. Now, this evaluation is completed as part of the school executive evaluation instrument. This is a state instrument. It was originally introduced in the 2010-11 school year. So this is our 6th school year using it. You see here a slide straight from DPI's website, which embeds all of the evaluation documents right here on the website. All of our principals and assistant principals are evaluated with this instrument, and they all access it through PowerSchool, through Homebase. So you see here how one principal or assistant principal would go in and see their own personalized folder, and then within that folder there are different compartments for each part of the process. Now, to get things started, at the beginning of the year here in Gaston County, we design an evaluation guide for each of our principals, and I'll be happy to, at the conclusion of my presentation, to let you all look at this, where we give them step-by-step information and guides to help them as they go through the year. If you think about the principal's evaluation process, it's really 5 major steps: pre-evaluation planning, growth goals, mid-year review, summative conference, and then the summative evaluation. And these 3 that are highlighted in yellow all require site visits at the school site. The evaluation instrument itself is all about 7 standards, which include 20 elements and then 134 descriptors that all feed into those elements and standards. These are the 7 standards upon which the superintendent evaluates his principals: strategic, instructional, cultural, human resource, managerial, external development, and micro-political leadership. Now, these next few slides I realize you won't be able to read up here, and the only reason I'm going to fly through them is just to remind all of us of the complexity and the details that are included in this instrument. This instrument is not a holistic rubric. It is an analytic rubric, which means it is detail-driven. Here are the 4 elements for strategic leadership, and you see the many descriptors that are aligned to that. Here is Standard 2, instructional, which includes 2 elements. Standard 3, cultural leadership. There are 4 elements to this and close to 30 different descriptors that must be considered by the evaluator, Mr. Booker, as well as by the principal being evaluated. Standard 4, human resource leadership, has 3 elements. Standard 5, managerial, has 4. Standard 6, external development, has 2. And then the final standard, micro-political, has 1 element. Now, I would like to move into the first 2 steps here, because these were the 2 steps of this process that our principals were focusing on during these first 4 months of the school year. And when you think about those months, August through November, these were the specific things that our principals were working on. In August, our new principals were going through their orientation to the instrument. All of our principals were completing their self-assessments, and then they went into formulating their growth goals, and then meeting to discuss those growth goals and to revise and to get approved those growth goals, and then of course starting to implement their strategies. The self-assessment that the principals complete looks just like this in their own personalized PowerSchool folder. It includes all 134 descriptors, and our principals must rate themselves on each of these as either meeting or not meeting that particular descriptor. Why is this self-assessment helpful to them? Because then they must formulate personal growth goals for the year. And you see that they consider their own self-assessment as well as what the superintendent included in their evaluation from the previous year, their own personal interests, and the needs of their school. So then they go into the system and they design their growth goals. They select a standard, they write measurable specific goals, and they write strategies or activities that will help them to meet those goals. Now here you see an actual page out of one of our principals' evaluation folders, and you see 5 green check marks. That shows that this principal has completed all of the steps of the process up to this point. He has written his growth goals, he has completed his self-assessment, he has met with either myself or Mr. Booker to discuss those goals. Those goals have been approved, and he also has signed off on those goals. So that gives you an idea of where we are with the process so far. And at this point, I'm happy to report that all 55 of our principals have those first 5 green check marks. They have their growth goals locked in. They are working on those. And the next step will be their mid-year reviews and site visits, at which point we will discuss their progress on their growth goals and progress on all 7 standards as a whole.
Any questions from anybody? Dr. Abernathy, we appreciate your time, and we appreciate everything that you do.
Thank you.
Yes, I'd like to recognize Todd Hagens for the next item.
Good evening, Chairman Lutz, Vice Chairman Ramsey, members of the board, and Superintendent Booker. It is a pleasure to present to you the American Education Week Proclamation for your consideration. Each year, schools and communities across the United States observe American Education Week to celebrate public education. This year's observance is November the 16th through the 20th, and at this time, I would like to read the proclamation. This is a proclamation, American Education Week in Gaston County Schools. Whereas November the 16th through the 20th, 2015 is American Education Week, a time for us to celebrate public education and honor the professionals who are making a difference every day to ensure that all children receive a quality education. And whereas the first American Education Week was observed in December 1921 and co-sponsored by the National Education Association and the American Legion, and whereas since then, schools and communities across the country have come together each year to celebrate the week with special activities that bring attention to the importance of education, and whereas the 2015 celebration focuses on the theme, Great Public Schools, a Basic Right and Our Responsibility, which encourages citizens to act as advocates for our public schools and champion the belief that education is a pillar of democracy and a cornerstone of American opportunity. And whereas we are proud of our public schools, which provide outstanding opportunities for children in academics, athletics, fine arts, career training, and extracurricular activities, and also serve as an integral part of any thriving community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Gaston County Board of Education is pleased to proclaim November the 16th through the 20th, 2015 as American Education Week in Gaston County Schools, and encourages the citizens of Gaston County to show support for public education by expressing their appreciation to school personnel and celebrating the education that children receive from our public schools. This proclamation will be on your November the 16th meeting agenda for approval. And as you know, during American Education Week, our schools conduct a variety of special activities. One program that takes place during American Education Week is the Kia Outstanding Educator Awards Ceremony. It will be held on Wednesday, November the 18th at 4 p.m. at Stuart W. Kramer High School. And this employee recognition program is sponsored by Kia of Gastonia, and to have it during American Education Week is perfect timing. Mm-hmm. And if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer those.
Any questions for Todd? Yes, Ms. Guthrie.
I am very pleased to know that this board and the greater Gaston community is introduced to American Education Week. It's very important that we make our public and keep our public aware of how important it is for us to recognize the importance of education, not only here in Gaston County, but across the United States as a whole. It's very important because we advocate all the time for various programs in our schools. We expect student growth, but we can't get that if we don't have a strong public behind us. So we want to thank you for presenting and for recognizing such an important week. And we hope that our greater Gaston community will support and visit some of the schools in our county to show their support of American Education Week, because I know that within that week there is a day when adults should visit the schools to show their support. So we want to thank you again for your public announcement tonight of American Education Week and the importance of the proclamation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is Superintendent's Leadership Academy, and I would like to recognize Dr. Baltnight and Dr. Mingo.
Good evening, members of the board. Chairman Lutz, Superintendent Booker. Tonight, Dr. Mingo and I would like to share information about the Superintendent's Leadership Academy. We're very pleased to share with you 3 modules that we will begin this year. As one of my colleagues said, what about the other areas? We do have additional areas slated to begin next fall, but we're going to start with 3. We're very excited. This is in collaboration with our entire leadership team to work collaboratively, as Dr. Abernathy just talked about. This is aligned with their evaluation instrument as well for each group. So I'll turn over to Dr. Mingo.
Good evening. As Dr. Balknight has indicated, we are delighted to share with you our Superintendent's Leadership Academy. When we think about the purpose, we know that there are a lot of passionate educators here within our district, and we want to provide them with an opportunity to continue to grow as leaders. We know that oftentimes organizations can't rise any higher than its leaders, so we want to have the absolute best so that we retain them. This will offer practical hands-on experiences. The complexity of school buildings every single day changes, so to ensure that we have administrators that stay abreast to what's in the best interest of our students, we will be able to provide opportunities for them to do this with our Superintendent's Leadership Academy. When you think about the way that it will be designed, we'll have it in cohorts, 12 to 15 participants in each one. The cohort format will allow them to develop intimate relationships so that they can develop some understanding of one another's situations at their schools, but also provide a level of not only accountability, but also some transparency as well. Dr. Baltnight did reference that we'll start with 3, and I'll share with you information about each of those: making connections, then assistant principals to principals, and then principals, here we grow. For our making connections, this is the one that we have customized for our beginning teachers in critical needs areas. Some of the critical areas that we oftentimes find ourselves having difficulty finding teachers in, such as math, science, and EC, to name a few. This particular Making Connections cohort will allow them to experience district-wide support. So you'll notice here that we have all of the districts within our school system that will be a part of providing support to our teachers in our Making Connections. This does not by any means replace our outstanding nationally renowned TIPS program, but it's yet another layer of support. We offer multiple levels of support for our beginning teachers, not only the 3-day orientation, our monthly sessions through TIPS, our building administrators, as well as their assigned mentors. So this is just another layer to ensure that we hold on to these teachers in the critical areas. I'll give you a moment to take a look at that. And when you think about the cost of replacing a teacher, it can be staggering. What we're doing is we're investing some time, talents, and resources in them before they become frustrated. The next one is administrators to principals. Again, when you think about leadership, relationship, it only helps us get more scholarship from our students. Principals, here we grow. We do have outstanding administrators in our school system, and this is an opportunity for our principals as well as our assistant principals to connect at a different level. We will provide for them additional support based on their 7 standards that Dr. Abernathy referenced earlier, and we'll do this in the format of allowing them to have various cohorts that meets their needs. Many of our building principals come to the job needing some additional upfront tools and strategies. They will have a toolbox full of strategies that they can use and refer to ongoing, not only while they're participating in our cohorts, but also things that will take them wherever they want to go in their career while they're with us in Gaston County. It's extremely important to us, and we have a tremendous passion that we not only make sure that we do things that are necessary for our students to be successful, as well as our families, but we also want to take care of our staff. And this is one way that we can ensure that we provide leadership opportunities for our administrators. Some of the future institutes that Dr. Balknight referenced that we will have coming next year are teachers as leaders. We have a lot of teachers that are already doing outstanding things. This is another way for them to lead in their classrooms as well as in their schools. Instructional assistants to teachers, and then growing our own. We do want to provide opportunities for our middle school and high school students that are interested in becoming educators. And what better way than to start right here with them in middle school and high school, and then give them opportunities to go away to college and come back home to teach with us. Any final thoughts? I certainly appreciate the opportunity to share with each of you, and you're welcome to call me or email me if you'd like additional information. Do you have questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
We do thank you for all your help. Tremendous amount of effort and thought and process to all this, and it's really looking very well, and we do appreciate you. We do have to grow our own now. It's a tough market out there, and the more kids that we can get earlier we can get them, hopefully they'll come back to Gaston County and be part of the community.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Ramsey?
Closed session under NCGS 143-318.11A, Section C for personnel.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Ramsey. I have a motion. Do I have a second? Ms. Guthrie, any discussion? All in favor? And it is unanimous. We'll be going into closed session. We're now back in open session. Mr. Ramsey?
Make a motion for adjournment.
I have a motion for adjournment. Do I have a second? Okay. Ms. Cherry, a second. Any discussion? All in favor? And it is unanimous. We're adjourned.